Hello there, this is the Landscape Ontario podcast. My name is Scott Barber, and today I'm joined by Tony DiGiovanni. Tony has attended every Landscape Ontario Congress since 1975, and he has a whole lot of memories from the trade show floor. And now that he's retired from his role as LO's executive director, he has no plans to break that streak. Tony is here to talk about some of his favorite moments, including how Congress helped shape his entire career. Our conversation is coming up next. All right, Tony. So, what do you think about when I say Congress? Okay. What comes to mind?
Well, what comes to mind is actually the beginning of my career. So I've been going to Congress since 1975, and I have not missed a single Congress since then. So in 1975, I was a student at Humber College in the landscape technology program. And, as a student, we had to build the student garden. So that was, my first experience was this, we all got together and we had to work hard to build this wonderful garden, and it was really intense and it was a lot of fun. I still remember it. And from nothing, from this hall, we built this beautiful garden, and then everybody just loved it. So that's what I remember, when you say Congress, well, that's my whole life.
Right back.
Right back to 1975.
To the root of your career.
And then the other thing that I remember really clearly was, I always wanted to be a musician. I took a year off, and then that didn't work, so I went back to school, and I took the landscape program because at the time my girlfriend's father, who turned out to be my father-in-law later, he used to be the salesperson for Ball, and he had some pretty catalogs in the back seat of his Impala, and so I said, okay, well, maybe I'll take this course with plants.
Plants look cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
Plants look cool. It was really pretty. So the closest school was Humber, and I took the landscape technology program. But I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know if there was a future. I didn't know if I could actually make a living. My father thought I was crazy, saying, "What do you mean? I came all the way from Italy so you could go and dig with a spade, or do weeding?" Like, he just thought I was nuts. So anyway, I became apprehensive. I didn't know if it was right for me, and when I decided to kind of stick to it, or one of the reasons I decided to stick to it, was because Congress had a youth day. First of all, we built this garden, but they also had a youth day. They had a special ticket for youth as well. We were free to get in, and we had to show up to a theater. Then it was at the Sheridan Center. And there were theaters that you'd go to, and we went to this theater. And at the time, there was a fellow named Glenn Peaster, who was the first president of Landscape Ontario. So Landscape Ontario started in 1973. This was 1975. And Glenn Peaster talked to a room full of young people, young students, telling us that there was life after school, that there was a career waiting for us, and that it was an important career that did important things. He spoke with such enthusiasm that I still remember it. I said, okay, I'm going to stick to this.
And it worked out.
It worked out. 75 to now. How many years is that? 45 years? Yeah. Almost 46, 47 years.
Going on 50 years, yeah. Because, of course, LO's celebrating 50 from 73.
So that was my first, introduction to Congress. And I can honestly say that I wouldn't be in this trade, and I wouldn't have had the career that I've had it not been for sitting in that audience listening to Glenn Peaster, because I was getting discouraged. I was actually thinking,
you might look at a different direction.
I might take something else. I don't know what the future holds here.
Did you ever tell Glenn that story? Did he know that impact?
I never had the opportunity to tell Glenn that story. But so it's important. There's things that are going on at Congress that we don't know anything about, and how it's going to affect the future. You know? Anyway, so that was my experience. So we had I was in the landscape technology program, and so we had to build the gardens at Congress every year, and it was always just so exciting. The other thing I remember is that the teacher would give us a project that we had to go and collect catalogs.
From different
from all the exhibitors, we had to actually
exhibitors.
create a whole binder full of these catalogs, right?
To learn about all
what
everybody has to offer. That's kind of cool.
And that was what we did, you know. And I still remember that a lot of the exhibitors hated that project
because there's
these beautiful catalogs, and they're going to students.
Yeah.
And I was a serious student, right? And so I was actually looking at what I was, paying attention to what I was looking at. But there was a lot of students who would just, this is something I needed to do. They would just go and quickly take everything. Sure. And, so I understand the exhibitors, some of the exhibitors. But some of the exhibitors actually relished the fact that we did it. They knew that, hey, here's the future. Just have to wait a little bit. Let's cultivate these guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, those are the business owners of tomorrow, or a few years down the line. That could be your clients and so forth, or employees.
That's right, or employees.
Yeah.
So that's the beginning of my experience with Congress, and every year I'd go back, and it was just so exciting to see the entire trade all under one roof, and it was, and then over time, so I went from student to a job, and then eventually I became a grower, and then afterwards I became the executive director of Landscape Ontario, and never missing one Congress, and over time you realize that what Congress really is community building accelerated. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, right? So and it kind of dawned on me, like, I didn't know what the association was. I mean, I was executive director of Landscape Ontario as a fluke job, and I didn't really know what it was. But over time, I kind of figured it out. Hey, what we're really doing is building community here. And I've used this phrase a long time. It's a community for mutual benefit and mutual improvement. And that's everything that Landscape Ontario does, is actually building community. Your magazine builds community, mm-hmm. Through communications and telling stories and,
sure.
and so forth. And that's what Congress does, only in an accelerated fashion.
On steroids.
Intense, accelerated, amplified fashion.
Because it's not just the business. People do a lot of business at Congress, obviously, but it's the social, it's the personal.
It's exactly right. So what happens at Congress? Every year it's exciting to be there because it's like a homecoming, right? You see everybody, and it's exciting to see the trade under one roof too. So you know what? This trade, this profession is actually quite large.
The scale is amazing.
When you see it. There's 7 acres of booth space. But what also happens is you see the same people every year. There's a lot of hugging. there's a lot of laughter, right? And so Congress is pretty multidimensional. Yes, it's community building on steroids. All intense, the days are long, mm-hmm. But what is really happening? There's probably about 4 major things that are happening in this whole venue. One is that it's a market, right? At the end of the day, it's a market, and markets have been around since time started, mm-hmm. And you need markets to exchange. Markets actually create prosperity. Adam Smith figured that out.
The wealth of nations.
The wealth of nations, right? It's all it. Markets are important. Trade is important. And here you have a whole bunch of exhibitors and a whole bunch of their clients that need each other. It's
symbiotic.
It's symbiotic. They're dependent. They're interdependent. and you find out what's new. You find out how to do things that are better. You get innovation, new great ideas. Things are sparked there, like people introduce new products, and that's where they grow, and eventually are responsible for feeding families, and feeding a lot of families, and also responsible for enhancing the environment and just enhancing lives in general, and it starts there through this marketplace. So there's a lot of knowledge that is exchanged that leads to more prosperity based on that market. So that's kind of the base. That's if you ask an exhibitor why they go to do business and grow their business, and if you ask an attendee, they're there to also do the same. Sure. Right? To find out what's new, to do deals, to gain more prosperity, right? So that they can do their job better and feed their families and leave landscapes. So that also improve people's lives. So that's one thing. The other thing is learn. There's a ton of learning that happens. And that happens in different ways. It happens formally through the lectures. I can still remember so many lectures where I've just been inspired, or I've learned things that I didn't know about technical things or even business matters. And there's just there's a lot of learning that happens at Congress, and again in this saturated way, and that's another reason that people go. It's a big reason that they go. And then there's that social aspect that I never thought was really important. Boy, was I wrong. I was kind of a serious guy. It's all about learning and being better at what you do. And no, it's things that they remember is the social stuff.
Sure.
It's the meeting after the meeting. It's going out to lunch, or going out to dinner, and developing relationships of trust, and having fun. And so that social aspect of Congress is huge.
Absolutely.
And the tailgate party and the hospitality suites, and what do you remember? You remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, it's bonding with your colleagues, or your exhibitor, maybe your team bonding.
That's right.
It can be a great time for that, or an attendee bringing your staff. It's a way to show, hey, let's have some fun. Let's go learn. Let's meet up with our suppliers, our network, and I really care about you and want you to be there with me.
That's right. And it goes beyond the work, right? Yeah. That social goes beyond the work. And how many times have I gone to Congress and all of a sudden I'm sitting having a private conversation with someone who's gone through a divorce, or a death of a parent, or sometimes the death of an employee. Like you get into really serious conversations about life, and or you celebrate, someone getting married, or someone winning an award, or a new baby, like that all happens in that intense time over those 3 days,
That's the homecoming part, because
it
may be, it may be one of the only times in a year you might see certain colleagues, certain suppliers, at least in person.
That's right.
So you have that chance to connect, find out how their grandkids are doing, whatever, or kids, for that matter. That's sort of that, almost like a homecoming for a school. That chance to reconnect with your old friends is pretty cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that happens at Congress, and you don't know until afterwards, is that legacy piece, right? You inspire somebody, you don't even know you've inspired them. It's like the story I just told, Glenn Peaster.
Which is just amazing. I mean, what can you imagine? Like the impact you can have on people. I mean, that's obviously an extreme case, because
I don't know how extreme.
Yeah, Because it led to,
Yeah.
an incredible career
Yeah.
in horticulture.
Yeah.
But even little things. It could be, helping somebody feel energized and ready to really, kick butt that year.
That's right. Or someone might come across a new product, and all of a sudden they become a distributor for it.
Sure.
Or that particular product has made it so that they've grown their business in so many ways. And, so yeah, there's just, it's all good.
Yeah.
That's why I've loved Congress. I intend, even though I'm retired now, I intend to spend 3 days at Congress this year. And it'll be the homecoming, and maybe I'll get an opportunity to talk to some students, which is something I've done for over and over again over the years, to talking to the students, and I could relate. I could see myself way back.
That's so cool.
So
yeah, I mean, it is a big part. The younger people, maybe it's employees coming in and seeing the skill. Maybe they're new to the industry.
That's right.
And having a better sense of what it's all about, because as you say, it's that community building accelerated.
Yeah.
You get that. There's really no other place where you can see what the landscape profession, horticulture profession is, all together like that.
That's right.
It just it's really eye-opening when you walk into that Toronto Congress.
Yes, especially for people who don't know about the industry. Like, we always would have some sort of politician come in and do the openings.
Mm-hmm.
We had mayors and premiers, and their eyes are opened. They say, oh, this is, it's a large industry. It's like $7 billion in Ontario, right? It's over 100,000 people that derive their living from it.
Yeah.
And it's so important in terms of what the result is. We need our environment. We need nature. Yeah. And here you have a whole bunch of nature specialists.
The experts.
The experts.
Yeah.
So it's all done at Congress.
So 50 years. Celebrating 50 years of Landscape Ontario and Congress, Landscape Ontario Congress. What are you, I guess, looking forward to most when you come back? Now retired for the first time at Congress?
It's just really it's all about people in the end, right? It's relationships and 33 years as the executive director, I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's good to see them again.
Yeah.
So I intend to if they'll let me, I'll stay in the Landscape Ontario booth and just be a greeter.
That would be great. I'm sure that can be arranged. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. And I look forward to going to the awards program.
Oh yeah.
I understand it's a black tie this year.
That's
interesting.
Team has a special, definitely it's always like just such a cool event, a fun night. I think it's going to be even more special this year because of celebrating that history. I mean, 50 years of the awards program, it's incredible. That's right. How many amazing landscape and horticulture professionals have been celebrated over that 50 years. Right. I mean, it'd be just incredible.
That also speaks to that legacy piece, right? So how many seeds were sown based on someone seeing that particular award-winning landscape, saying, oh, there's an idea I can copy, or I can do that, and
aspire to
yeah.
get better, to take ideas. Yeah. It's the awards is one of my favorite parts always.
Oh, for sure.
There's such an energy to it.
Yeah. And everyone's so happy when they win.
Oh, it's amazing to watch and watch the staff teams. Obviously there's the business owners, but to watch the staff teams that have worked so hard and work so hard on these landscapes to have that recognition is just super cool.
That's right. The other thing, from an association perspective, and I've seen it with a lot of our association, our association friends across North America. Those with trade shows actually do better.
Yeah.
And there's many reasons for that. It's that community building accelerated piece, the amplified piece, but there's also trade shows are, they fund a lot of the association activities. And we need to be thankful to all those exhibitors.
Absolutely.
It's they're the ones that are paying the freight.
Yep.
And making it so the associations can help propagate prosperity for everybody. So it's important.
It's extremely important.
Yeah.
I mean, just critical to the Landscape Ontario, to everything LO does.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else about Congress we haven't? I mean, you've been to 50 some odd, or almost. Sorry, I shouldn't round up.
Maybe 47.
You've only been to 47 Congresses. I'm sure there's a few more stories, but maybe they could be shared on the show floor.
That's right.
with your many friends and new friends.
I love it. I love it when I see old students.
Yeah.
Who they're in business. It's when I was teaching at Humber College, after I graduated from Humber College after a few years, those students, make a living, and you watch them grow, and it's great to see.
Yeah, they built businesses, and now they have employees.
That's right.
That their business is supporting, and
it's a nice little cycle of life.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'm super excited. I hope I'm sure it's going to be just an amazing event.
Yeah.
All LO members, well, not just LO members, but the whole profession's obviously invited to come January 10th to 12th, 2023. Obviously relaunching after the COVID period, so a relaunch of the show.
We're looking forward to that. It's been 2 years without Congress. Yeah. And I just need to also acknowledge your role on the communication side. You've been doing an amazing job, just creating excitement for Congress. So well done,
you, Tony.
Well done.
Well, it's an easy thing to do because it has 50 years of, as making such a positive impact. So it's not like trying to promote something new. People know and love Congress. There was some 15,000 people, in 2020 at the last live show. It is such a beloved event, and I know it's going to be. I know there's going to be a lot of people really excited to be back. So it should be a lot of fun.
Super.
Great. Thanks so much, Tony.
You're welcome. See you at Congress.
Thanks so much for listening to the Landscape Ontario podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I hope you'll consider sharing it with colleagues or maybe even your staff team. And please consider subscribing. It's free. New episodes come out every single month.